For the first time in the history of the Wakefield High School football program, we are Super Bowl bound. Hello and welcome to another edition of Speaking with the Principal. I'm Ron Stromensky, principal of Wakefield High School, and it's good to have you along with us again. This Sunday, December 7th, the Wakefield High School football team will be at Nickerson Field at Boston University at 11 a.m. for an engagement with Central Catholic of Lawrence in the Super Bowl. And joining me today to discuss that particular occasion and the season in general are the senior co-captains of the Wakefield High School football team, beginning with Steve Casey. Steve, welcome. And Sean Chapman. Sean, good to have you here.
Thanks.
Let's drop back to the beginning of the season if we can, as we sort of bring ourselves up to the major moment of the season. Any thoughts, Steve, that we could be heading to the Super Bowl when the first practice commenced?
Well, that's what we talked about from the beginning of the year. It was our goal first to win a Middlesex League championship, then hopefully go to the Super Bowl. But we knew we had the talent. It was just we had to put it all together, and we knew back then we could win it, go there and win it, and hopefully we'll win Sunday.
Sean, the opening of the season was against a pretty powerful squad, and now we know that Gloucester really also was in the running for a Super Bowl. They've proven to be a formidable opponent for everyone in their league. As you looked forward to that first game, any trepidation, any concerns about going into that match?
Well, the first game we came out and we were ready to play, but a lot of the kids weren't in great shape as we in the year. And that kind of woke us up because when we came out in the second half, everyone was kind of dogging it because their legs weren't underneath them. So that kind of woke us up and said, we got to get in shape this week and get ready to play the next week.
Really?
Yeah.
So the Gloucester game ended up a tie.
Yeah.
And we really weren't in the best of condition? We should have won the game?
Well, the first half we came out playing. The second half we came out out of shape. So that woke us up to say, we got to go get in shape, and we can't win in the Middlesex League playing like this.
Yeah. Steve, one of the things that was an adjustment this year was a change of coaches. Coach Boyages coming on board, of course. How much of a transition was that for members of the team? Coach Boyages, of course, was the freshman coach.
Yeah, I think it worked out all right. We all knew who he was. We all knew what style of program he ran. We knew what he was about. We knew what he wanted from us. So basically, we just went into the season knowing what he wanted, and he knew what we wanted. So we worked together all right.
Okay. Sean, tell me about playing varsity football under Coach Boyages. You played freshman football under him. How did the season go in terms of working with the new coach?
Well, it went just as any other season went. It went smooth, and we knew what he wanted because we played under him freshman year, and he knew what to expect from us, so it went very smooth, and everything went good.
How long have you been playing football, Sean?
I've been playing football since I was about 8 years old.
So you played in
Pop Warner.
In Pop Warner.
Yeah.
Did you play with Steve and members of the team? I remember I did a show with the soccer guys prior to going to the state championship, and they were talking about having played together from the time they were 7, 8, 9 years old. Has this group been together, Steve and Pop Warner?
Most of the kids have, but with Pop Warner, they have a weight limit, so it's hard for all of us to play together. Where I could only play 1 year in Wakefield, I ended up playing my 7th and 8th grade years over in Linfield because they don't have a weight limit over there.
Really?
So
is it a Pop Warner program, or is it different over there?
It's basically the same thing, but it's called youth football, and there's no weight limit, so any kids can play, any size kids. So a few other kids went over there from Wakefield, and we just played over there. But a lot of the kids played together, basically in the Pop Warner program. We got used to playing with each other.
As this team came along, as you fellows got to know one another very well, of course we've had also some transfers and other kids coming in. As a freshman group, how did the freshman team do? What's your recollection of the freshman squad when you were freshmen?
Our freshman year, we were the best team in the league, and that was all to it. Nobody could beat us.
You had the best record in the league, and so that sort of was telling us that down the road, Super Bowl could be a possibility.
Yeah.
And you've stuck together and made it happen. What was the real turning point, Stephen, during the season? Everyone, of course, was looking ahead to the Reading game. Maybe we looked ahead too much when we played
Yeah, I
Winchester.
think the turning point was definitely the Winchester game. After we lost, we knew even though we had lost, we still had a chance to win the championship. So basically, people knew it was basically we were desperate. We knew we couldn't lose again. It was just everybody did everything they could to win. We knew if we lost again, the season's basically it's not as much down the tubes, but we didn't have a chance to go to a championship. We didn't have a chance to win the Super Bowl. So we knew we had. It's basically we had to win. It was a must-win situation where if we had beat Winchester, it wouldn't have been that situation.
Yeah.
We still could have afforded a loss, and that's what I think helped us out the rest of the year.
So that was really the turning point.
Yeah.
Quite often you hear in sports about the wake-up call. Sure.
Yeah.
That was the wake-up call.
Yeah.
This is it, guys. As captains, what was your role after that Winchester game? What did you say to the rest of the squad?
Our role was just, when practice came, make sure kids didn't give up, and make sure they kept practicing as hard as they were before that game. Make sure none of them quit, and just stay awake and play the rest of our games as hard as we did before that.
They responded to you.
Yeah.
After the Winchester game, when we were looking ahead, Reading was really the major obstacle, Steve, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, that's what we had said since the beginning of the year. Basically, we were looking for the Reading game. We knew the date, we knew what time and everything. We were looking forward to that game, considering they were the only team who had ever beat us in the Middlesex League since we were in high school. So we were gunning for them, but we never took any team lightly. We knew every team in the Middlesex League, anyone can win on any given day. So we knew we had to go out and play hard every game. But Reading was basically what we were looking for all year.
There were a lot of surprises in the Middlesex League.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving Day, Lexington knocking off Burlington,
Yeah, that was a surprise.
and in fact Winchester knocking us up. But any special preparations for that Reading game, Sean? Did you do anything different? Was there an opportunity to put some new plays in there in the hope that their scouting reports wouldn't serve them very well?
Well, that's the couple years before that we tried to do that and we lost. So we figured this year, just come out and play like it was any other game, and just play our game, and we could go out there and win.
Go with the basics.
And that's what we did.
Go with the things that you do well.
Yeah.
Trying to put new things in a week's notice, Steve, is that pretty difficult?
It's actually it's matters. Sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. But it's basically we do it every week. We have to adjust to the other team's offense and defense, and just get ready to play. Usually we don't put anything too difficult in after the first couple games. Just basic stuff with different teams. Basically, it's pretty much simple.
How important and how helpful is it, Sean, to watch tapes of your opponent's games? I mean, everybody knows that everybody else watches the tapes of the games. In fact, they're exchanged. Is it helpful? Do you find that when you watch a tape of your opponent that they're doing those kinds of things when you get into the game?
Yeah, it's very helpful because along with the practice, it just gives you a different view of how they run their offense or defense, and it helps you out in the game because it just helps you see things better, the way they do it, and how you're going to make your next block and things like that, because it goes along good with the practice and learn better.
Okay, if you're just joining us, I'm talking with Stephen Casey and Sean Chapman, senior co-captains of the Wakefield High School football team, who will be appearing in the Division II Super Bowl at Boston University's Nickerson Field on Sunday, December 7th. Tickets are available at the athletic director's office at the high school, so you want to be sure to pick them up before the end of the school day on Friday. Steve, speaking of Nickerson Field, this is a different kind of a climate, a different kind of a field that we're going to be playing on. Artificial turf. We've never played on artificial turf.
Well, actually, at the beginning of the year, Sean and I went to a combine at Nickerson Field, a preseason football combine, and we talked how it was the beginning of our year and we wanted to end our season there. So we've been on the field before, we've played on it, we've run on it, we've done a bunch of stuff. So not saying we're used to it, but we've been on it. It's basically, it's faster, it's a faster climate. It's basically, the turf's hard, so you have to wear elbow pads and stuff, but I think it will help us because we have a lot of speed on our team. So it will help give me an advantage there, the turf, because it helps with speed.
When you talk about a combine, were you there at this
Yeah.
combine? What does that mean, a combine? Tell our viewers what that was about.
It's a bunch of different exercises and things that you do for college scouts and stuff while they're there, and they look at you. And you run the 40-yard dash, you do the bench press, you do a shuttle run and vertical jump, different stuff like that.
Sean, what about footwear? We're going out on artificial turf. Is there a change in what you're going to be wearing for the game?
Yeah, most kids are going to be wearing turf shoes.
What are turf shoes? How is it different than what you wear on in a regular game?
It's not really cleats. It's like these little like bumps on the bottom of your shoes to get traction. It's not really like the cleats that dig into the ground.
Mm-hmm. Now, you're a running back. How's that going to affect you? Is it a different feel for you?
Yeah, we haven't really practiced on any turf yet, but I'm thinking it should be a different feel because when you make your cuts and everything, it should be there'll be no give. Like in the grass, it usually gives a little. The turf usually doesn't give that much, and that's why it's usually better for speed and stuff because you can.
Are you going to have a chance, Steve, to
Yeah,
get some workouts in,
yeah.
some practice on artificial
Thursday night we're
surface?
practicing at BC, then Saturday morning we're practicing at Northeastern.
Let me ask you the same question in terms of footwear. Sean's running the ball. You're making sure he can. You've had them on. I'm sure everybody now has
Yeah.
the new footwear. Any concern on your part as a lineman?
No, that's basically they're just basically sneakers with, like you said, little bumps on the bottom. They're what they use for turf. I don't think it would cause any problem at all. I think the turf's it's harder on if over the long term it's harder, but for one game I think it's better because you won't be slipping around. You don't have to worry about the conditions of the field, and we can go in there not having to worry about anything, just going and play our game.
Speaking of playing the game, it's Central Catholic of Lawrence that we're going to be taking on, the champions of their league. They lost 2 non-league games this year, Sean. They lost to New Bedford. They lost to Acton, Boxborough, two pretty good teams, but they swept their own league and went undefeated. Am I right?
Yeah.
What do we know about Central Catholic? What kind of information do we have in preparing?
They got 2 quick backs, number 1 and number 2. They got this fullback, Joe Giuliano. He's a big kid. He's hard to take down. They got a quick offensive line. They run the base 5-2 defense, and they're very quick. We just need to stop them right off the line.
Have you had a chance, Steve, to see tapes of the Central Catholic?
Yeah, we saw tapes the last couple of days, and basically what we do, from our defensive point of view, we just have to stop the fullback, that kid Joe Giuliano. They run a lot of trap right up the middle, which, basically what the coaches have been saying, if we can stop that, we can stop their offense. Because he's probably the premier back in that conference. He's probably the best back in their conference. Probably one of the best backs in the state. He's a real big kid, and he's hard to bring down, but we got a gang tackle, and hopefully we'll stop him.
Does that call for any defensive adjustments? Is the defense that we're running going to be able to accommodate meeting that need, Sean, do you think?
If everyone does their jobs, it should be all right.
How do we match up in terms of size, Steve, from what you see?
What the coaches said, it's like we're playing ourselves. They're exactly the same size as we are up front. Their backs are also quick. They're small. It's basically they're they're real similar to us. They have basically their line averages around 210 pounds. Their backs are somewhat small. They have a pretty good quarterback. They got good running backs. So they're a lot like us.
So it's a mirror image of Wakefield. They shut out their opponent also on Thanksgiving, so there are an awful lot of similarities here in terms of what we're going to see on Sunday. And we're all going to be there to root you on. We know we're going to be coming home victorious, but whether we do or we don't, I want you to know that the community of Wakefield and the student and faculty population are proud of your performance as co-champions of the Middlesex League this year. It's been a great, great year. Keep up the good work. We're proud of you, and we know that ultimately we're going to end up Super Bowl champs. But and I know you're going to give your all as you've done all season long. Again, that's Sunday, December 7th at 11 a.m. at Nickerson Field at Boston University. There will be student buses going, so as you view this, you want to be sure to get your ticket and plan to be there to support the Warriors in their final game of the season. And we will be there to cheer you on. Until next time, Ron Stromensky saying, thank you for joining us.